Hey there. If you're an NRI or OCI, that dream of connecting back with India, maybe investing or just managing family property, it's a really powerful feeling, isn't it? But here's the thing. That dream can turn into a total nightmare if you're not paying attention. India's legal landscape is, well, it's a minefield. And today, we're going to give you the map to navigate it. I mean, it's a super common dream, right? And you'd think it'd be pretty straightforward. It's your home country after all. But as we're about to find out, when money and property get involved, your good intentions just aren't going to cut it. The whole path is just paved with these incredibly specific, and I mean specific, rules. Okay, look at this. 300%. Let that sink in for a second. Now, you're probably thinking, wow, is that some kind of amazing return on investment? No, not even close. That is a penalty. Yeah, you heard me right. Under India's super strict financial laws, just one wrong move, one little procedural slip-up or a wrong assumption could cost you a fine of up to 3 times the value of your entire transaction. So this isn't just some abstract number. It's the real, serious risk you're taking if you get this stuff wrong. So where are all these crazy rules coming from? Well, it's mainly this one big thing, the Foreign Exchange Management Act, or FEMA for short. You got to think of FEMA as the master rulebook, the big boss. If you're doing anything with money, sending it to India, investing, selling property, you're playing in FEMA's world by FEMA's rules. And trust me, understanding the basics here is absolutely 100% non-negotiable. All right, let's dive into our first section, the high-stakes rulebook. We're going to start with the money stuff, the financial regulations, because honestly, this is where people make the biggest and the most expensive mistakes. So here's the deal. India definitely wants your investments, but the road to get there is, well, it's more like a tightrope than a highway. It's super narrow and specific. For example, you can totally get into equity derivatives, think futures and options, but commodity derivatives? Nope, completely off the table. You can be a cool angel investor for a startup, but any kind of wild speculative trading? Forget about it. The whole system is basically set up to reward stable, long-term investment, not high-risk gambling. And this is a perfect example of just how ridiculously detailed it gets. Let's say you want to invest in your friend's new company. Sounds simple, right? Just wire some cash? No way. It's a mandatory 4-step dance. First, you have to check if that industry is even open to foreign investment. Then you need a formal valuation done by a pro. After that, you've got to use the right banking channels. And the big one, you have to report the whole thing to the Reserve Bank of India within 30 days. You miss any of those steps, and poof, your entire investment could be worthless, legally speaking. And hey, if you're thinking, aha, I'll find a clever workaround, just don't. Seriously, think again. Let's imagine you try to get sneaky and use a shell company to buy some agricultural land, which is a big no-no. The fallout is brutal. 1, the whole deal is void. 2, the enforcement directorate can just take the property, confiscate it. 3, you're staring down that 300% penalty we talked about. And 4, you could even face criminal charges for money laundering. This system has absolutely zero patience for people trying to bend the rules. Okay, let's tackle a super common question. One that seems so simple, so logical. You're living abroad, your folks are in India, you think, hey, can I just open a joint savings account with them to help manage stuff? Makes sense, right? Well, the answer is an absolute hard no. An NRI simply cannot be a joint holder in a regular resident savings account. It's a direct violation of FEMA. The second your status changes to non-resident, you are legally required to change any of your old resident accounts to an NRO account. If you mess this up, they can freeze the account and, you guessed it, hit you with penalties. All right, let's shift gears and talk about property and inheritance. Now, this is where things can get really tricky and honestly pretty emotional. This is where your family's history and legacy crash right into these cold, hard, impersonal government rules. So let's start with the big foundational rule. It is crystal clear. If you're an NRI or OCI, you cannot, I repeat, cannot buy agricultural land or plantations or farmhouses. No ifs, ands, or buts. The door is closed. But what if you don't buy it? What if that old family farm, the one that's been in your family for generations, is left to you in a will? So you can't buy it, but suddenly you own it. What then? How does the law even begin to deal with that contradiction?
Well, the answer is in this really interesting legal tug of war. You've got FEMA on one side saying, no, you can't buy it. And then you have Indian succession laws on the other side saying, yes, you can inherit it. And guess what? In this one specific case, succession law actually wins. It carves out this tiny little exception to the big FEMA rule. But, and you knew there was a but, right? There's always a catch. So, okay, you inherit the land. You can even sell it, as long as it's to someone living in India. But the money you get from that sale, it's basically stuck in India. You cannot send it abroad without getting special permission from the Reserve Bank of India. And even before you can think about selling, you have to get something called a succession certificate to legally prove it's yours. No certificate, no sale. Simple as that.
Okay, this brings us to our last section, and it's all about the fine print, the nitty-gritty details of your actual status as an NRI or OCI. We're talking about everyday stuff here, travel, paperwork, and just common mistakes that can get you into a world of hurt.
You know, even a simple trip back home can feel like you're taking a legal exam. Just picture it. You're standing at customs. You've got a bit of extra cash on you. Well, if it's over $5,000 and you didn't fill out a form for it, they can just take it, seize it. The Indian rupees you have, there's a hard limit of 25,000 you can take out of the country. And that brand new laptop you brought for your nephew, you better declare it. If you don't, you could be facing penalties under not just one, but two sets of laws, customs law and FEMA. And their favorite line? Ignorance is no excuse.
Now, this is a huge one that so many people get wrong. Your OCI card, your Overseas Citizen of India card, is not an Indian passport. Think of it as a lifelong visa. That's it. It does not give you the rights of an Indian citizen. So let's say you're an OCI, but you're carrying, say, an American passport, and you get into some troubles somewhere else in the world. The Indian embassy can only help so much. You do not get the full diplomatic protection that an actual Indian citizen gets. And no, you can't flash it to get special visa deals or sign up for government health programs in India. It just doesn't work that way.
And finally, let's talk about taking shortcuts with paperwork. Let me be really clear. They don't exist. Thinking of using your tenant's Aadhaar card for your own ID check? That's illegal, and it opens you up to all sorts of fraud. A fake PAN card in a property deal? That's not just a fine. That's a serious criminal offense, and it can kill the whole sale. And that power of attorney you sign back in your home country? It's basically just a piece of paper in India, unless it's been properly notarized and then apostilled. That's a fancy word for a special international certification. Without that seal, it's worthless. Every single document has to be by the book.
So, after all that, what are the big takeaways? It really just comes down to a few golden rules. Number 1, the procedures aren't suggestions. They're mandatory, period. 2, know the limits of your NRI or OCI status. Know what it lets you do, but even more importantly, know what it doesn't let you do. 3, when in doubt, just don't. Seriously, if you have any hesitation, stop what you're doing. And finally, please don't try to be a hero and do this all by yourself. Getting professional legal and financial advice isn't some luxury. It's absolutely essential for survival. And look, you don't have to just take my word for it. The analysis we base this on ends with a really stark warning. It literally calls it a highly stringent regulatory environment, where noncompliance leads to severe consequences, including financial penalties, asset confiscation, and even potential criminal proceedings. That's the world you're stepping into. So yeah, the Indian dream, that opportunity to connect, to invest, it's absolutely real and accessible. But here's the bottom line. This isn't a system you can try to outsmart or bend to your will. It's a system you have to respect and follow to the letter. The dream is there for the taking, but you have to go in with your eyes wide open, fully prepared to play by a very, very strict set of rules. So the only question left is, are you?